20 years. You can't drive down a road in this town and not see some form of improvements, whether it be a building or our infrastructure. Our town marina is the best on the shoreline. Our beach is becoming the best on the shoreline, and most of this money was done through grants. We are on the precipice of the future with the new Morgan project. I support the Morgan project. I support the recommendations of the Morgan Building Committee. It has been studied. Every alternative has been analyzed. And at this point, the most cost-effective way to solve this problem is to build a new school. I support this project, but the biggest concern I have with it, I need it to go to referendum. I need the people of the town of Clinton to have the opportunity to vote on what they want to do with that high school, and that is the goal of myself and my team, Dolly Mazzetti and Tom Messina. We'll continue to work hard for this town. This town has gone from number 18 in Connecticut Magazine's poll. The town's between 10 and 15,000 in 2005. The last poll came out last week, and now we're number 7. So I think we've done a pretty good job in the last 6 years. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask all of you to please refrain from applauding.
I'm sure you tell them now.
I know. Tell them now. It was a little bit too much, but why don't we save it until the end of the debate, please? Thank you. Carol.
I am Carol Walter. I am just completing my 2nd year on the Board of Selectmen, and you don't know as much about me as you do about Willie because we're kind of in the background of things. I was born and raised in Brantford, a product of the public schools there. I went to the University of Connecticut and graduated more years ago than I would like to state publicly. I moved to Clinton in 1978 when I married Bill Walter. I've been here for 33 years and raised my 2 kids. We've had 2 separate family businesses in that span of time, and we're extremely proud of our track record. Our business is operated in town. We pay taxes in town. Our family history here goes back 80 years. My lovely father and mother-in-law are here, and my father-in-law, do you mind if I say you're 87? My father-in-law is 87. He moved here when he was 12. My kids are 4th generation Clinton. This is where our hearts are. And I'm very pleased to introduce you to my 2 running mates, John Giannotti and Kim Simoncini. Both Kim and John were born here in Clinton, raised here, went through the Clinton school system. They married and are raising their families here. Their children are in the Clinton school system. They both have extremely successful businesses here. They live in town. They keep their businesses here. They could park their machinery or build their buildings elsewhere, but no, they are here. They are in Clinton. They are taxpayers here, and it's for that reason that I'm running. Our taxes are too high to maintain businesses here, and it's my goal to do something about that. Thank you for coming. Oh, and thank you to the CTA. I really appreciate the opportunity to express my true feelings in regards to the issues coming up. Thank you. Now you can applaud.
A little bit of that. Okay. Thank you very much. We do have a timekeeper. Joyce is keeping time for us. She has a sign that says 30 seconds warning. And how would you address it and solve it? Is First Selectman, what would be your highest priority?
I think that the most important issue facing the town right now is its financial situation. I think the residents are severely overtaxed. I think the fact that businesses continue to leave. We lost 2 of our top 5 taxpayers in recent years, and as you all know, there really hasn't been any effort made to either replace those businesses, develop the town center, or do anything really to increase the corporate tax base, which then places too large a tax burden on the residents. As First Selectman, what I intend to do is heavily market the town of Clinton In addition to that, you've heard that while there have been some grants that have been received, but who is deciding where those grants are going to go? I don't believe that they've been appropriately placed in the necessary projects. I think that there have been projects where money has been wasted, unilaterally overspent without the necessary approvals, projects that just haven't been managed properly. And I also want to say that although I think that's the most pressing issue, we have to deal with the wastewater issue. And if we deal with it properly, it can lead to future growth for the town of Clinton, in particular future growth along the commercial corridors.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fritz.
Okay, stay on task. I believe the economy is the most important thing in town as well, but the financial situation in town is very good. Amongst area towns, we have one of the best credit ratings. We have one of the largest undesignated fund balance. We've been very frugal in how we spend money. Our bond rating was upgraded the last time we went to bond. Regarding the other properties in town, we have been working with Unilever, which is not on the market, Bostage, which is on the market, and the State Department of Economic and Community Development to try to bring funding to Bostage for a developer to come in. The state will not deal with the town, they will deal with the developer directly, and we've been working on that. Now, you might have just seen that this jobs bill was passed up in Hartford. A component of that is a downtown revitalization plan for towns and cities under 30,000 people. I was a proponent of that, working with our local legislators. My mother, who also was a legislator, it was passed. And because we have a conceptual plan that was done by engineers, we are in the front to get some funding to continue to revitalize our downtown on top of the grants that I've gotten for $250,000 regarding the bulkheads and upland improvements, and the grant we've applied for $500,000 to take revitalization from the river to Post Office Square. We are working forward on these efforts, and I am up in Hartford quite a bit working with our legislators and the governor's office to try to promote that.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Walter.
Okay, in response to your question, what's the biggest problem that we have? I believe it's our tax burden. The fact that Clinton has a mill rate of 24.92 as opposed to Old Saybrook and Westbrook that are relatively in our demographic. Westbrook's mill rate is 17 mills, Old Saybrook's is 14. We are paying way too much in the way of taxes. This has to be addressed, this has to be modified. My personal feeling has always been we pay enough taxes. For a town of 13,000 people to come up with $44 million in taxes every year is enough. It's what we're doing with that money that needs to be addressed. I look at our downtown, that isn't something I take pride in. I haven't seen any changes downtown in the look or the feel of this town in at least 6 years, probably more like 10 years, if not farther back than that. That is a huge problem. We need a town that we can look at and point at with pride. We need to make our tax dollars work harder.
Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead. Get a 1 minute reply.
I have to disagree that the town is in excellent financial condition. And the fact that we have so much money in a reserve, it's way too much in reserve. It's millions of dollars too much in reserve. It's practically 15%. And that's not the town's money, that's your money. Yes, they need to keep a certain amount in reserve. I advocate approximately 8 to 9% to be held, and the rest should be used, let's say, for example, to address that $9.4 million bonding package.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fritz. 1 minute. Answer? Okay. I want to say that I'm very new at this. I received a call at 9:37 this morning. I appreciate your patience with me. This is my first time, but we will get through it okay. All right, Mr. Fritz, you get the next question. You want this. Here we go. The cost per student in Clinton is rising faster than the rate of inflation, and perhaps some other towns. How would you address this escalation and ensure educational costs are reasonable while providing our students with the best possible education?
First of all, I don't think the information is accurate about the cost per student rising, particularly and faster than other towns, and I don't agree with either. The cost per student, there are a lot of factors that are involved in that. One of which is the amount of special ed care that you have to provide with students. It is a mandate of the state of Connecticut. In this town, besides surrounding towns, we have an enormous amount of special education that we have to provide, comparable to Madison, Westbrook, Saybrook. Our demographics are much different, regardless of what people may think. We have 6 manufactured housing communities. Madison does not. Saybrook has 2. Westbrook has 2. And our special needs students are predominantly one of the biggest costs within our school budget. So I don't think our costs are rising enormously. The school board has worked very hard with the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance over the last 2 years to bring in good budgets, and I think the new superintendent was a couple years now, and his administrative team are going to continue that with the Board of Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Place. Mrs. Walter.
I have to disagree with Willie. Yes, our costs for students in Clinton are right at the top of our DERG, our demographic. Our per student expenditures are very, very high. It's over $15,000 per student. And there is an answer to this that will not impact taxpayers except in a positive way, and that is to pursue grants. This town needs to actively and aggressively pursue grants that other school systems are raking in one after another. Last year, for example, Madison received a $30,000 grant to buy 10 smart boards that we put in as a line item into our school budget. Why are we paying for things that Madison is getting for free? The answer to reducing our per student cost is to aggressively pursue grants in the Board of Education, on the part of the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Mr. Semino.
And costs continue to rise. It's pretty simple. The budget's increase and the student population is going down, so you've got a larger amount of money being divided into a lesser number of students. I know that Mr. Cross and all of the administration, all of the teachers are doing what they think is the best they can. What we need to do is we need to really scrutinize the Board of Ed budget. We need to make sure that resources are allocated in the most efficient way possible. The teachers union has been very cooperative recently. We need them to be even more understanding. We're all in this together, but basically we need to keep that Board of Ed budget at a manageable number while realizing that the student population is declining.